In this video, we'll learn how to generate Gemini API keys and make it work with our MCP project. So if you want to actually learn more about MCP and how it works and benefits your Slurp'it workflow, there is an MCP introduction video. In that video, we'll talk about MCP and what each component does, what each component is responsible for. But in this particular video, I'm just going to go through the process of generating Gemini API keys, put in our project, and do a couple of interesting things with it. So this is the project itself. This is under Slurp'it.io organization page under GitLab. If you want to clone it, you go here, you clone it with SSH or HTTPS. And after you do that, there are a couple of environment variable files as references, as examples that you can use, but you have to rename them to .env for the whole project to be able to read those environment variable files. In fact, it is easiest to show you if I go to my text editor. This is the environment variable file. Again, this is the original one. This is for the reference. You create a copy or clone of it and use it here. Right now, for this video, I'm going to use Gemini and use the Gemini API key. Keep in mind that if you want to use any of these models, you have to remove, or at least, like me, comment out all the other models, so it's not going to interfere with our process. So what I'm going to do is, again, go back to browser, go back to Google AI Studio, and let me make it a little bit bigger. For the Gemini API key, you need to, again, first of all, authenticate just like any other platform and sign in. For this one, you have to have a project. Then you have to import your project, and it gives you the API key associated with that project after that, after you import it. So if I go to API keys, if I try to create API key, it tells me what the name is, and I have to first here import a project. I'm going to import a project, choose this one, and say import. After import, I can give it a name, and the name could be whatever, or I can skip and just create the API key. Once I do that, I'm able to copy the API key. So just like any other LLM and platform, you have to have some balance or credit associated with your profile, with your API key, and basically the account that you have. Mine is empty. I don't have any credit associated with it, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use an API key that actually has some credit in it because we want to do a couple of fun things with our MCP server. So go back here. I am going to paste in my API key, save the file, and close the file. There we go. Regarding the environment variable file inside server, this is just referencing the actual Slurp'it instance. I'm using the sandbox right now. You can do the same, and the API key that is already installed on the sandbox. As I set use private tools to true because some prompts, some operations are called private, and that means create, update, and delete. Regarding read, you don't need to set this to true. Read is more of a public prompt, but for this video, I'm going to use some private ones, so I will keep it as true. Now, in order for Docker to be able to refresh or read the new environment variable files, I have to force the recreation of the containers so our environment variable files are updated. Once that happens, I will run my main.py entry file, and if I do that, it puts me inside the project, inside the actual container, docker exec it, and from here, we know that we successfully updated the Gemini model, and it also verifies the key for us as well. You can also use other platforms, other websites for validating your API key. Some works if you don't have any credit, like GPT, but some doesn't. For example, with DeepSeek, you have to have some balance. Otherwise, even if you want to validate it using third-party tools, it gives you insufficient balance error. So here, first what I'm going to do is get the planning IDs because I want to see the planning ID for VRF. Then I will try to scrape a specific device, for example, Cisco iOS, based on that planning ID, in my case VRF, and actually see the VRF details for that device. So I will say get planning IDs with their names, because sometimes it just gives me the planning ID numbers and not their names. So I will run it. Now I'm gonna say scrape. Actually, if you want to see scraping prompts, you can go to the README file we have, example MCP prompt, and we have some good prompt examples there. But here I'm gonna say scrape device or device with host name, and I will say Cisco iOS for planning or planning ID 18 for VRF, which is VRF. So I will run this because I want to actually see the planning information, or not the planning itself, rather the scraped version or scraped data from that planning. And sure enough, it tells me that we have two VRFs, one for 720, the other one is for 700. And those are the VRF interfaces. Since we are here, let's get the get routing table info for Cisco iOS as well. There we go. We can also get the routing information, routing table for the device with the hostname Cisco iOS. Again, it's better to say hostname Cisco iOS because Cisco iOS is also a platform type in Slurp'it, but that gets the job done for me right now. So I will see you in the next one.